My topic is Grow in Urban Green Movement, evaluate the reinforcement of community garden for renewable community. This is the methodology that I followed and first did the problem identification and then comprehensive literature review to study the relevant theories and all. And thereafter choose the case study and for that selected 18 samples. The collected primary data was qualitatively analyzed by using NVO software. Finally come up with some conclusion and recommended future research areas too. As we all know, rapid urbanization in developing countries reduce the livability of cities. This urban expansion decreases the urban green spaces and immediately decrease of urban places where people can continue community interaction. But in developing contexts, community garden considered as the best urban platform to continue community relationship, which collapse with the issue of green spaces reduction in cities. However, as same as in the context, Sri Lanka also faced into the issue of green spaces reduction due to urban sprawl. In Colombo district, 66,000 households are living without having shared spaces to continue their community relationship and interaction. However, as a developing nation, Sri Lanka has a need to enhance community interaction and community involvement within urbanized areas with the issue of green spaces reduction in cities, because these are the places urban community have getting together. So here my aim is to assist the reinforcement of community garden for build up community interaction and community involvement by investigating diverse social and physical factors which are motivating community to community garden. Accordingly, my research question is what are the social and physical factors that influence motivate community to community garden? However, this study is based on the community perception and then it can be leading a biased reporting with the qualitative interpretations. So it's a limitation of this investigation. Then moving to the literature review part. Community garden is part of the urban agriculture and as its name implies, it managed by a community group for the purpose of growing foods. In recently, community garden integrated with sustainable community development strategies because it supports to increase community participation and community interaction both. Simply, community renewal is empower the community by engaging them in various activities. However, as scholars mentioned, community garden contains some aspects of community renewal because it supports to form social networks and manipulate community development. According to literatures, community renewal is a broader theme. Therefore, to define and measure the diverse degrees of community renewal, scholars have used two terms. The first one is community interaction, and the second one is community involvement. Therefore, this study also focuses these two terms for assess the broad theme of community renewal. These are the two theories that I followed throughout my research study. Placemaking is a process which transforms inhabit places into living places, and there are three dimensions in this theory, and each dimension contains some factors which has used to assist the reinforcement of community garden for build-up community interaction and community involvement. And especially, as scholars mention, these factors can identify only within a functioning garden. Another research design part selected a functioning case study called Silparam Corridor Community Garden, which located in Papaliana East GND in Caspar DSD. Using literature-based variables, selected a functioning garden because the derived factors from literatures cannot identify within the malfunctioning garden. In that case, followed the weighted scoring method. The selected sample size is 18 out of the 72 household and it represents 25% of total population. It is more than the 10% of sample representation. That's the amount scholars recommended for in-depth interviews for the followed random sampling method. The research study is based on the primary data collected through in-depth interviews and observation. Using an interview guide, try to find grassroots level pushing as well attractive social and physical factors to achieve the research objective. And also the collected data was qualitatively analyzed by using NVO software. In the analysis part, all collected stories through in-depth interview and observation were categorized into themes. These themes are the factors which derived from literatures which need to renewal community. This word cloud analysis shows the mostly highlighted words in community stories, and these all words inserted into a relevant theme based on the meaning what people wanted to tell. According to that, identified 15 different social factors and 9 different physical factors as shown in this table. With that, attractive factors indicate the benefits and convenience that people having, and the pushing factors indicate the grassroots level problems which affected to community participation. And this hierarchical chart analysis indicate what are the highly affected and least affected factors for community participation in hierarchical way. The portion of each factor has allocated based on the amount of community preferences highlighted under each factor. The first highly indicated factor is togetherness. As that community explained, this is the place where people can interact together with each other, and especially the garden has helped to increase the togetherness among family members also, as this quote is showing. The next one is unity and belongingness. As community express, they are very lazy to engage with cultivation at home because they are alone. But here they nothing face any isolation because they feel that they are belonging to a larger portion of community. The third factor is supportiveness because as they explain, the community who is working in here is well lovely and well cooperative. The next social factor is sharing and caring. As they explain, they share the vegetables, plants, seeds, foods, what they have with each other, and they are not selfish. And the last social factor under the broad theme of bond is loyalty. Within their stories, they told that although they know these people in earlier as their neighbors, they have started to move and trust each other after coming to this place. The next factor is ability to earn an income. They earn income by selling vegetables and by taking vegetables for their home consumption. However, as they express, they could be able to make some money through this garden to keep their economy stably. The next social factor is ability to make good friends. Without any age differences, all of them have added some good friends for their lives. According to the community, they are attracting here due to their mental compliances because these craft are a pleasure for their monotonous lifestyle. Actually, until happens the agricultural land filtration with the urban sprawl, people have already engaged with the cultivation, and some of them are migrators who came from rural areas to urban areas. Therefore, these people are really desired and experienced one on the agriculture. Unemployment has risen to community for attracting here because most of the garden users don't have having a permanent job or a salary, and the economy is very unstable. Under the social factors, the last and least affected three factors for community participation is ability to share knowledge on agriculture rather doing cultivation at home longly, ability to get in exercise for good health, and the education. That's all about the social factors, and then move into the physical factors as well. Walking distance is a physical attractive factor which influence for community participation because lots of people who are using this garden have settled down within the 500-meter to 1 kilometer zone, and therefore they are much allowed to daily travel to this place. Land scarcity is mostly highlighted physical pushing factor for the community participation because according to them these people are living in a concrete yard and cannot cultivate as they wish, so there is an issue for them with this space to do cultivation. And the next physical pushing factor is inability to access to the nutritious foods when going by it from market. So they are attracting here because according to them, this is the place where they can pluck vegetables without any poisons. Uh, as community explained, in here each person has 10 patch of land to grow the vegetables and pluck a rich yield, rather doing cultivation within a limited space at home. And also Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation also giving compost in free of charge, which need for their crops, and it's a big alleviation for them to continue their cultivations as well to attract into here. Further, the community don't have engaged with this job in earlier, and this is a new experience to them. Therefore, the instructions given by the agricultural officers about cultivations are invaluable for them to attract here. As well, the crops variety that they can grow in the garden with the knowledge gained from officers was highlighted as another factor to participate to this garden. However, and eventually, the factors contained in three dimensions of placemaking theory, as well other literatures which need to assess the reinforcement of community garden for renewal community, were found from the selected case study also. This is the overall conclusion of my research study, and at the end of found 15 different social and 9 different physical factors which need and used in the context to assess the reinforcement of community garden for renewal community. So in finally it indicated that there is a reinforcement of Siriparakam corridor community garden to renewal community. However, at the end of this investigation, I highly recommend the major limitation which I had to address in future. In fact, the research has limited only one case study area, and because difficult to generalize the findings and validation of the finding will be less. So to generalize the findings, further investigations are needed on the same research question, considering more than one case study areas. Thank you.